How do you go about forming a family trust in order to preserve the very hard-earned wealth that you're concerned about preserving? My name is Shilly Boy. I'm your tax and registered financial advisor. I speak everything that has to do with tax, financial planning, and property. Now, let's get into it. You worked hard, you bought a couple of properties, assets, investment portfolios that you've created over time, and you're very concerned, rightfully so, that the wealth that you've created can be squandered by your children, or for that matter, you can, even you yourself can squander it. We all have those habits sometimes. Some people have those habits rather that may actually end up leading to them squandering their hard-earned wealth. Now, then let's talk about these processes of forming this family trust. One of the starting points that you need to understand is who's going to be the beneficiaries. Some people, when they think about forming family trust, they worry about having to preserve wealth for generations to come. Where we speak about intergenerational wealth, they can nominate the second generation, they can nominate subsequent generations, and that's very important to identify that. Equally so, you need to actually, as a family, decide what are the family long-term objectives so that we document those long-term objectives within the trustee, because be mindful that the trustees that are going to be appointed will have to be governed by the trustees. They cannot do things that are not within the trustees. So that's why it's very, very important to sit back and understand what are the family long-term objectives so that they are documented within the trustee. Equally so, now let's think about who actually is going to be the trustees. It's very important that when you identify who's going to be the trustees of your family trust, to seek those people who understand the family dynamics so that they are able to manage the family dynamics in line, or rather, they are able to manage the trust, having in mind the family dynamics. What do I mean by that? There may be some family members that require special needs. So when the trustees are making decisions, so for someone who understands the family dynamics, will actually be making an informed decisions taking into account such consideration. Equally so, we all know that some family members actually their financial literacy is not that of sound. So if you've got someone as a trustee who understands those type of dynamics within the family, he's or she's able to make decisions that are informed by that. Let me give you an example. If we know that someone is actually not good when it comes to financial responsibility, therefore, what would you do? Would you distribute money to that person? No, I wouldn't do that as a trustee. I would rather distribute or rather take care of that particular person directly by paying either the service providers that is necessary for his or her well-being. So you see what I mean? So, but if you are someone who doesn't understand the family dynamics, you may end up taking decisions that actually are not informed. Equally so, you need to be mindful that as a law, you are required to have what you call an independent trustee. Independent trustee is someone that is not related to the family or the beneficiaries of the trust. Therefore, that person is there in cases where the disagreements, in most cases, they are able to actually mediate or take an independent and also play an oversight role where they're able to foresee where things are actually not being run according to the trusted, equally so also not being run according to the law. So that's why it's so important. Equally so, you may actually consider appointing trustees among your advisors. What do we talk about? People who create wealth. Over time, they build advisors around them, because we all know that creation of wealth requires a various expertise that you and I as an individuals, we may not actually possess those type of skills. You are looking at people having family lawyers. There are people looking at having family financial advisors, tax advisors, the people like me who happens to play within the private wealth where we look after various families. You also can be having someone who's an accountant for the family. So those type of people tends to make good trustees because they understand the families, they understand the objectives, they understand the structures that are utilized by that particular family in order to create wealth. Therefore, when you are appointing a trustee, you also sometimes is advisable to look around you, people like that who can actually end up acting as trustees for your family trust. At the end of the day, those people may actually end up assisting you to actually create wealth and, for that matter, preserve wealth for generations to come. It's also important that within that trustee, some people actually nominate the trust that can be created by that particular trust for generations to come. Exactly. So it's possible that within the trust deed, you can actually create a trust for the next generations, right? You say these beneficiaries, a trust can be created for any beneficiary of this current trust, meaning that if kids are growing and they've got their own families, they can end up creating their own trust, and that very same trust actually end up being a beneficiary of the original trust. So that's how we create intergenerational wealth, and we're preserving this wealth for families to come. Have you created wealth, or are you working on creating this wealth that you want to preserve, and you want to have a conversation with me? You're more than welcome to actually reach out to me. My number is on my WhatsApp. You can WhatsApp me. Let's have a consultation. Let's discuss all this on how we can actually help you to preserve your wealth. Good luck.